Well, our moms think we're funny.
Hey,
No, go ahead.
you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, everyone, I'm Acomi.
Hey, everybody, this is Turk182.
What's up?
Not much, man. You know me, chilling.
Max and relax and all cool.
I told you that story, right? I'm pretty sure I did.
It sounds familiar, yeah.
A guy I used to work with, and I think we used to, talk and stuff like that. We were all cool, whatnot, and we were watching VH1. Oh God, well, it was VH1, like I Love the '90s or something like that, and they were doing this kind of like in between segment and stuff, and it was funny. And I think it was like George Bush, and he was like, hey, what's doing? He's like, nothing, chilling, running the country.
I like it.
So, yeah, man.
So we were talking off mic, trying to figure out what to do with this episode,
Yeah,
as we do. And
like a turtle do.
we were kind of talking about like the differences between our childhoods and our adulthoods.
You know, what I think is kind of funny is you and I are really good friends. And, we joke about, how we became friends and whatnot, which is always funny. But, we're pretty good friends. And it's kind of funny that, our backgrounds are completely different.
Oh, yeah.
Which is interesting. Not in a bad way. Obviously, everyone comes from a different background, but our backgrounds are completely different. But it still brings us, kind of like in a Thanos way, and where that bring us right back here,
Right.
And we're like. I'm not gonna say everything about us is completely different. It's like we have like a completely different set of morals. Like, oh no, my mom told me it was okay to kill pigs, But it's like we had like different aspects of like what was right and wrong growing up, or
Right.
what we could do and couldn't do. But even still, like now we're still like where we are as far as friends go.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's like a perfect storm, just it all fell together really, really well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had a weird upbringing, which we've talked about numerous times on the podcast and on the YouTube channel and all that. I was brought up in a very weird church in a very conservative setting, and eventually got out of that and kind of started learning what normalcy was. But like I grew up in a house with like not watching anything beyond like a PG on a generous day.
Right.
Like we almost couldn't watch Shrek. It took a lot of begging and pleading to watch Shrek.
Wow.
So yeah, like that should give you some idea there.
I think one of the things about my childhood was interesting was that, it wasn't until I got older where, my friends would be like, it wasn't until I was much older. I think it was like 5 years ago. No, it had to be longer than that because it was before I bought my house. So maybe 6 or 7 years ago that I saw Goonies for the first time, and
Wow.
like most of the, like, the people that my age that I grew up with, like they saw that as a kid. It's like I never saw it as a kid. I don't remember watching a commercial for it as a kid, and like the things and it was because like, it was growing up, it was just my mom and I,
Right.
and it didn't have very much, she worked 2 jobs and shit like that. But I never really wanted for much.
Right.
Which is kind of interesting in itself, but I was like, I never really wanted for much. Like there were things that I guess I wanted, but, but it wasn't where it's like, I really want this. It's like, mommy, let me have, one of those kind of things. Like, no, it's like whatever little things I wanted for the most part, one of the great things I love about my childhood is like, if I wanted something, I had to earn it,
Right,
and
right.
either earn it from her, or earn it by, earning the money to get it. That was just kind of how it was.
Yeah.
So I always appreciated that. and so these things that I guess a lot of my friends, like they knew these movies. Or there was like a lot of movies I never even heard of. Or like, and they're like, "Man, these are classics." Like, really? This movie means nothing to me at all. Like, I don't know anything about it.
See, I grew up hearing about all those movies. We never watched them. You know, I mean, like, I grew up, like, seeing all the references to Rocky and hearing about Rocky, but, you know, I didn't get to watch Rocky till I was in my 20s.
Yeah, I never watched, like, Rocky or anything like that. You know, I didn't really have cable and that kind of stuff. It was like, but again, I never felt like I missed out on anything.
Right.
Boy,
boy, I felt like I missed out on stuff, but...
Well, yeah, I can understand why you did.
But, you know, it was never like, oh, I never got to experience life or anything like that. It was just like, you know, I mean, I was homeschooled. It's just there was so much shit that I was just clueless about, and you know, it's kind of a running joke on the podcast that you'll ask about a movie and it's like, you already know the answer to that. You already know that I have not seen the movie. No way! You had to have seen that! And it's like, no.
It's like, we've talked about this. No. It's like, where would I have seen it? Like, where would I have seen it?
Now, did I ever tell you about the church, the kids at the church of the bakery that I used to work at?
No.
Because, you know, people should be able to piece together, like, a bit of my work history, but early, when I first started working full-time jobs, worked at a Mennonite bakery. Mennonite is a very, very conservative brand of church. Slightly different than the super conservative church I grew up in, but...
Slightly.
Slightly, yeah, just like... It was oppressive in all its own different ways, you know? But, you know, they didn't allow families or kids to have TVs or to watch videos online or anything like that. So what the youth group would do is take special trips down to Sears and watch the movies on the display TVs without telling the church elders.
I mean, that's kind of creative, but in the most sad way.
Right? That's a really good way of describing it. Yeah, it's like one of them was like, have you seen Superman? And it was like, you know, this was like whatever that early 2000s one was.
Superman Returns one with...
yeah.
Oh, God, that movie sucks.
Shitty movie, yeah. And they're like, have you seen Superman Returns? I was like, no, I'm not allowed. We're like, well, we went down to Sears to watch it. And it's like, okay, so a whole group of you guys just were standing around a display TV in Sears, like, yeah, we've seen it twice that way now. It's like, okay.
Oh my God, that's even worse.
God
that
damn.
You watched it twice that way. oh my goodness.
Wow.
Like, I mean, I'm not even happy that you saw it. I just feel so bad for you now.
It's like, I applaud your ingenuity, but goddamn, you got bad taste.
It's like, I want to cry for you. Like, really? Like, you watched it twice that way? Like, oh.
Yep. So, all that was going on.
Yeah, you know, that deserves a bless your heart. You know? I always reserve because, you know, whenever someone says, "Oh, bless your heart," what they really mean is like, "Oh man, yeah," it's like, "Oh, you're so fucking pathetic." You know, that's really what bless your heart means.
Oh
it's
yeah,
like,
down
oh,
south,
you're
it's
so pathetic.
Down south, I get mad when people say "bless your heart." It's like, you know what? Fuck you too, buddy.
Yeah, but that really does deserve a bless your heart. Like, oh, bless your heart.
He's trying so hard. So yeah. So like, I never got quite that desperate, but you know, there were a lot of taboos in my house growing up. You know, I kind of had to figure shit out about the birds and the bees and whatnot myself. So, because God forbid that you bring that kind of thing up.
Oh God, I can only imagine, man. So you already know my thing with the birds and the bees.
I believe so, but refresh me.
Because I remember when I was talking to Christopher Priest and I mentioned this to him, he was like, "Wait, what? How did this happen?" And I'm like, "Well." So I had a subscription to Playboy magazine at age 16.
Yeah.
That came to my house. It was my subscription, which I kept for several years, decades. Because, like, you know, I don't want to say back in the day, it makes it sound really old, but it used to be the Publishers Clearinghouse. They would send you the envelopes in the mail. Publishers Clearinghouse, and it's like you could win yada blah.
Yeah,
And what they would do is they would have the envelopes that would come to you, and inside they would have this little like it'd be like a whole sheet of like different magazines, and you would like decide which ones you wanted and like lick the back of you rip off the little stamp, like lick the back of it and stick it onto like the return envelope thing. Well, I joined the science fiction book club, and so I was getting my own mail, plus I have my own checking account.
Right.
So because of that, I was getting a lot of mail. And so I started getting mail from Publishers Clearinghouse because they think I'm an adult. So I was like, okay. And so I get this thing in here, and one of the things you could get on there was Playboy. So I licked I do the thing, and I'm also thinking to myself, well, if you don't buy a magazine, they're just going to take your entry and throw it in the trash, right? They're only going to really process the ones that are where you're actually getting a magazine or subscription. So, and I'm thinking to myself as I justify this as if I was like stealing from,
as you're paying for your magazine subscription,
right? The triangle of fraud, like it's like opportunity, justification, and so if there's something, I'm like, well, obviously the only way they're going to think I'm an adult too is if I get Playboy, because that'll prove that I'm an adult. Justification for what I want to do.
That's like the most wholesome reason ever to wind up with a subscription to Playboy. I tear it off and I lick the back of the stamp and I put it on there, and I get and of course I don't have to pay for it now. They're going to bill me later. Right.
So when I get the bill, I just get a money order and I send it in and I pay for it. And of course, it's Publishers Clearinghouse, so it's a cheaper subscription than if you were just buying it outright.
Right.
So it's only maybe like $10 or $12 for the whole thing. And so like a month or so later, or when the bill comes in, I just get myself a money order, I pay for it, and bam, I've got Playboy magazine coming to my house. and of course, I've got Playboy magazine coming to my house, plus I've already getting got Science Fiction Book Club, Playboy magazine, and Publishers Clearinghouse. So then I start getting all kinds of other adult mail, not adult mail like hustle, but I'm starting getting other adult mail and credit card offers and shit like that. But what I care? I'm 16-year-old with a Playboy subscription.
What more could you possibly need?
And my mom, she's like, all right. that was pretty much just okay.
My God, I can't imagine. It's I had to figure it out covertly, with the dictionary, because my parents would monitor the internet history. So if they saw anything remotely suspicious, I used to get the third-degree interrogations over Sonic fan sites that I went to. Oh yeah, and what's greenhillzone.com? It's oh God, it's a Sonic site, I swear. Oh.
Wow. Oh, man.
See, mom was really concerned with morality and didn't want me to become a degenerate. My stepdad was just obsessed with control and was just always looking for an excuse to scream more.
Look at me now, Mom.
Are you proud of me yet, Mom? So, yeah. So, it was quite, believe it or not, it was quite a slow process learning about the birds and the bees through dictionary entries and encyclopedia entries. It's none of these words make any sense. What's a vagina? Oh God.
Yes, I actually learned quite a bit from Playboy.
That'll do it, yeah.
Yeah. It's not like Playboy's not even a hardcore magazine either.
No.
I ended up finding myself reading Playboy more than, because okay, you've got the centerfold, and you read the stuff is this is stuff that she likes, and I like this, and I don't know if these people really like that stuff. Really, they might, but really, what does it matter? I'm never going to meet you anyway to bring you a basket of fresh avocados, or whatever it is you say you like.
Cindy likes working on cars on the weekends. Wow.
And then, of course, you got the jokes, and the jokes were kind of funny. And then you had
some incredible artwork in the old Playboys.
And then
Harvey Kurtzman had stuff.
Really?
Yeah, Little Annie Fanny was
Oh,
Harvey
yeah,
Kurtzman. Yeah.
Annie Fanny. And then you had like the centerfold. You had like one other kind of like pictorial. And then you have like another one back, and then everything else in this magazine is all just articles and ads and stuff like that. And so once you're done looking at the pictures, it's like, oh hey, well, I might read some of these articles or read these interviews, and I'm like, oh wow, and here's a whole like section on like I remember reading. I'm not saying this is one of the things that was like, oh hey, this thing can be informative too. What?
Right.
This place has everything. But I remember reading and it actually got to be the point where like the first thing I started reading after like the first thing I would do when I got a new issue was I would start reading the question page first.
Right.
And
right.
then I would like, after I did that, then I'd start looking at the people like, yeah, right, I'm sure you did. No, I did because I was reading like the Playboy answers and stuff. And someone was like, hey, I just got this new like stereo system. And I remember they were saying something, they were like, well, if you like, you set your speakers up, you should actually put your, this was at the time, they're like, your speakers should not be, or your stereo system should not be close to the wall. It should be at least 6 inches to a foot away from the wall for like the sound or whatever. And I was like, huh.
Interesting.
And I was like, how? And then of course some people had sex questions and stuff like that too.
Right.
But I was like, wow. And I was like, this can tell you all kinds of stuff.
Right, yeah.
And then, then of course, because once you look at the pictures, like, okay, I can only look at the pictures so many times. And it's like, it's pictures of naked women, like, yes, they're nice looking naked women, but like, I can only look at the same woman so many times,
right.
And again, their Playboy, so it's not hardcore. It's like looking at like a,
just nude models, basically.
Right. It's like looking at nude models, like a poster or calendar where the people just don't happen to have any clothes on. So it was like, okay, so yeah. And then, next thing I'm reading interviews with Ben Stiller and shit like that. And I was like, okay, cool. So, yeah, so that was it.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, let's see. I mean, movies are obviously like the really big thing for me as far as like, just, I've been trying to play catch up for years. But let's see. You brought up an interesting question that we can explore, which is how did you phrase it? Like bad habits that we still have that we should have outgrown by now, or something like that.
Well, yeah, like the things that we do as an adult that we don't have to. Because I joke around all the time about is like, shit, I'm an adult, so why is it that I still continue to, like, when I go into like a restaurant or whatever, I decide that I'm going to like order dinner, and then if I'm still hungry, I'll order dessert. Fuck that. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna eat my dessert right now. I don't have to like buy dinner like an actual meal. I can eat whatever I want. But
Right.
we still do that. We still fall in that trap of like, oh, we're gonna do it this way. Why? Because that's like that's how we that's just kind of how we do it. And it's like, why?
Yeah.
Why are we doing this? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Well,
It's like I'm an adult. My dad's not a phone.
Well, we actually did that at that small press expo.
Oh, yes, we did. That's right.
Yeah, 'cause-
we were like, fuck that. We're going to eat some dessert.
Yeah, we were walking by that ice cream place, and they had like big old like ice cream sandwich cookies, and they were phenomenal looking. And we were like, yeah, we got to come back here after dinner. And, then
And
we
we're like, fuck that. What's it now?
we're adults. We can just have that now. That can be our dinner.
It was almost like what's the Captain America. It's like, oh, well, we'll have it tomorrow. It's like, no, I don't have, I don't have a procedure tomorrow. I can drink it now.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just like, what are we doing? So yeah, we had ice cream, the ice cream sandwiches for dessert, and we felt really bad afterward. We were like, oh, kind of feel like crap, but feel that freedom.
Yeah.
Feel that freedom.
But it's like I don't understand. Like we do these things. Like as an adult now, we still like do things that we were kind of like raised as kids. Like you should behave in this way. I'm like, yeah, but I didn't really have a really good reason why. I did at the time because like my parents don't want me getting in trouble and shit. But like right now, like that's not going to get me as an adult in trouble. So why am I still doing it that way? It's kind of ridiculous.
A big thing that I had to learn as I became an adult is that it is okay to say no. Because, first of all, being in that weird conservative church, you didn't disrespect adults.
Right.
So if an adult asked you to do something, you said yes no matter what. And so a long time after leaving that church, if somebody asked me to do something, even if it completely hosed me and fucked me over, I would do it. Because I just didn't know how to say no.
Right.
And I wasn't comfortable saying no. It made me feel like I was violating something and disrespecting somebody by doing that. And, it was a real turning point to realize, like, wait a minute. I'm not obligated to do that. I'm an adult, too, now at this point. Thanks, though. It's like, I'm an adult, too, now at this point. I don't have to do this stuff that people want me to do. I don't have to look into these jobs. I don't have to look into these schools or whatever. And it was stuff like that. Like there was a pastor who had just decided that I was going to a Bible college, and like it took me weeks to build up the nerve to say no. This is not for me. This is not what I need to do with my life, and it's not your decision to make. And
really,
yeah, that took weeks to build up the nerve to do that, and it was such a nerve-wracking thing when I did it. But like, and it's kind of the same thing. I feel like a lot of people, well, not a lot of people, but I feel like some people kind of struggle with that whole idea of sharing, because when you're in school and stuff, it's like sharing isn't an option. If somebody asks you for something, the teacher's going to make you share it with them,
right?
Because you can't be selfish. You have to learn how to share. And so I think that it becomes so hardwired for people that they don't realize, when you're an adult, you're under no obligation to do that.
No.
And so when somebody's like, hey man, can I borrow your car? It's like, fuck no. No, nobody drives my car but me. And like, that was something, like, I didn't find myself in as many compromising situations with that, but it was something that I became aware of. That it's like, it's weird that I wasn't taught much about property and ownership, and if I don't want to share something with somebody, then I don't, and like that's something I feel like people are doing a disservice to kids to not let them know, hey, this is a possibility and an option. Because if you're not taught anything different than when you're 16, 17, 18, you could wind up being in a really compromising situation.
Right.
So.
And I know this sounds like I say there's people who are like, yeah, no, that's not something that you had to be taught or teach yourself. But I had to really learn to be an asshole, and I don't mean like there's like Turk182 the asshole, and then there's Turk182 the asshole, which is like there's the one that you hear all the time, like when we're talking, where I'm like, I'm Turk182 the asshole. I say asshole-ish things. I do asshole-ish things. Right. But then there's also the one where like Turk182 the asshole, meaning the guy that like I had to, and it's not a matter of being selfish or being greedy. It's more of like I had to learn how to just like not do.
Right.
Right. So. For example, and it's not even a matter of like saying no or something like that, but they like, shit, I had a really good example a minute ago, but of like, if I don't want to do something, I don't have to do it,
right?
And I can say no to anything. If I don't want to, I just say no. It's like,
right.
And it's okay for me to say no. I don't have to. It's not even a matter of pleasing people, but it's like it's this idea of like you should be kind at all times. And if it's not hurting you, and you're not going out of your way, then there's really no reason to say no, except for the fact that I don't want to, and it's okay not to want to.
Yeah.
And I remember I was talking to somebody, and I said it comes across as being kind of like a really asshole-ish thing, but it's not. Because someone's like, it's like, well, don't you want to, like, don't you think they deserve a second chance? And I'm like, no. I was like, I don't have to give you a second chance because I don't have to give you a first chance.
Right, yeah.
That's my choice to give you a first chance. And if I do it, then that's because I wanted to. But you don't earn it. And they automatically earn it or deserve it.
Right.
And I don't have to give you a second chance at all. Like, you had a first chance, you fucked it up, and now, like, it's done.
Yeah.
So I don't have to say, like, give you like another, like, no, nothing says you have to do that. And again, it comes across as being like you're an asshole. It's like, no, I'm not being an asshole. I'm just not doing what you want me to do.
Right.
Because it's the good thing to do. It's the nice thing to do. Or, you should be played. Like, I don't have to do any of those things if I don't want to.
You're under no obligation to do so. I think this is one reason why I cling to anarchy the way that I do. Because it's just realizing it's like, people have the freedom to make choices.
And it doesn't make me a bad guy just because I'm not doing what you want me to do or what you think I should do.
Right, yeah. It's like, who died and made you the decision maker in this process to begin with?
Right.
It's like, you are your own person.
Exactly. I'm my own person. Whatever, I do what I want. But it doesn't make me a bad person just because I'm not doing what you want me to do.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, when all is said and done, I live my life, you live yours.
Yeah, yeah.
And whatever decisions I make, unless I'm making a decision about you, whatever decision I make doesn't affect you at all.
Right, yeah.
But it does affect the hell out of me.
Exactly.
So if I decide that, the answer is no, the answer is fucking no.
Yeah. Yeah, that took me so long to reach that point and to realize that it was okay to be at that point.
Exactly.
Yeah. And like, as far as like my mom goes, I don't think she meant to have us in a bad church or anything like that. And, I think she was just worried about her kids and wanted to make sure they didn't fall into a bad scene and didn't realize the nature of that church. But,
trying to make sure that you guys weren't ordering Playboy.
Right, yeah. Didn't want us falling in with a bad crowd or anything like that. And it's like, I get that, but at the same time, it's like, it also kind of jacked us up in a lot of ways,
Right.
It's like shit, there's still so many of these things that are just like, they were just given taboos, and now it's like, oh yeah, no, it's okay. It's actually okay for me as a 31-year-old man to call another adult by their first name.
Right.
Nobody goes with the whole Mr. thing anymore.
I've actually told people that, I've always said, like, I'm not a nice guy. And people are like, yeah, but you do, it's like, you're a nice guy. I'm like, no, I'm not. At heart, I'm not a nice guy. It's like, I choose to do certain things that you may view as being nice things, but it's because I choose to do those things, not because I'm inherently this kind of person.
Right.
Now, I may choose to do those things more often than not, but at the same time, no, I can choose not to, I can just as well like flip and be like, I'm not doing that if I don't feel like doing it today.
Yeah, yeah.
And so it's like, I'm not necessarily a nice guy. I'm not a bad guy. You know what? At the end of the day, what I am? Just a guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody has their good moments and their bad moments.
I don't set out to intentionally do things that are going to hurt somebody, for the most part. And I've got I don't necessarily set out to do things that are going to hurt somebody. To help somebody. I don't really do either intentionally. It just so happens that, maybe something that I do does help somebody, and that's fine. It's like, but I'm still just doing what I want to do, and I'm just being me.
Right.
And that, as as an adult, it took me a while to just be able to say that's okay.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes though, when we've learned that lesson, or we start to learn that lesson, we learn it from the wrong people because they're doing it in a way that's more like we see other people doing it, but they're doing it in more of a like I'm just gonna be like a dick to people.
Yeah,
As
yeah.
opposed to the whole like, oh, I'm doing it because I'm being my own person,
Right,
kind of
yeah,
thing.
yeah. A lot of times you have to learn it the hard way, especially when they're directing that kind of thing at you.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was all stuff that I thought was pretty interesting, like just during our banter, because it's like it's always been like it's always been little things that I still realize that like I'm still having to get over in my childhood, where it's like when I first read Harry Potter, and it was like, you know what, I can make the decision as an adult to read Harry Potter, and I'm not going to get involved in witchcraft. I have no inclination or intention of getting involved in witchcraft, and all I want to do is read this fictional story.
Right.
And like I kind of had to talk myself into it at the time, but it's like, it's like I read it, I enjoyed it, that was that, and it's like that was kind of a turning point where it's like, yeah, fear mongering kind of sucks.
It's like, hey, wait a minute. I read Harry Potter, and I didn't, start doing this evil stuff. I'm not practicing, witchcraft. It's like, hey, it just turned out to be a really good book.
Yeah, it's like, man, fear mongering is a really shitty way to put people through childhood, So yeah.
The one thing, childhood thing that still sticks with me, and I know this is going to sound so fucking infantile. It really is. But the one childhood thing that still sticks with me that I have the hardest time shaking, right, is if I have an interest, let's say in a female,
Mm-hmm.
and talking to her or expressing my interest in her, I still have that fear that she's going to say no and tell all her friends, can you believe he had the nerve? Like, that is the one thing that I cannot shake to this day.
Oh,
and
no.
I don't know why, people don't really act like that, right? Do they? I don't know. In my head, they do.
I have the same paranoia because, like, I used to get told, "Oh, you just go ahead and ask her out. Worst she can do is say no." It's like, no, that's not the worst she can do.
That's exactly what I'm afraid. It's like, that's what I'm afraid of, Vince.
Like, no, the best thing she can do is say no in my world, because, like, I just picture, like, the scene in It's a Wonderful Life where people just come out of the woodwork and are, like, raising out of the bushes to laugh at him. It's like, there were only 3 people in this park, now there's 30, all pointing and laughing at me. It's like, how did this happen? Where did this 140 people come from?
Right.
Yeah, no, I totally get that fear.
And I don't know. It's like I can't shake it, and I'm like, and in my mind, that's how every bitch acts. No, I'm just. No, but seriously, that in my mind, that's how every girl is. Like, she's sitting around just waiting. Like, as I start to approach her, she's looking, and she's like, he's gonna ask, I can tell, no. Did you really think I was gonna say yes? It's like. And then like everybody knows. It's not even that she told me no. It'd be fine if she told me no. It's like you actually thought, she was gonna be like, no. Acomi dared me to say it. because that's always a saver, No, I didn't really have any interest in you after all. Acomi dared me to say it. Yeah. Because that always works. Yeah, that's a good saver.
Yeah, the life hacks with Turk and Acomi. If you're embarrassed by being rejected after asking someone out, then just say that your friend dared you to.
Yeah, because that's a great saver too. Because no. Yeah, I didn't really have any interest in you. I was just fucking around. So in case you really did like me, right? Yeah, well, all that's gone. I blew that.
You missed your chance. See, that's another good way to avoid rejection, is to tell them that you're a nice guy and they missed their chance with you. And someday they'll be sorry. Women love to hear that.
You'll be sorry. One day I'll be rich.
Someday I'm gonna own Microsoft. And you'll just be married to some boring football player, and you'll wish you had me, and it'll be too late for you.
It makes me think of this scene from Billy Madison, when he's with the phone, he's like, "You blew it!" Yeah, I mean, like, even at my age, I'm like, yeah, nope. Yeah. And that's the bad thing, is that, like, that fear from childhood has gotten to a point where I don't even know how to even show interest in a girl like that I like. You have no idea how many times I've been taking HRs like, why do you keep punching these women in the arm and pulling their hair? I'm like, I don't know. It's like, I just want to know I liked her. I tried to give her my pencil, and she said she wasn't interested.
You got it all wrong, Turk. What you do is you flick him in the back of the ear.
Oh.
Yeah, that's how you let him know that you like him.
See, I thought that's how you make babies.
No, that's that you go kissing on the beach.
Oh.
I looked it up in the dictionary, so
Oh yeah, well,
I know a thing or two about making love because I am Italian. So. Anyway.
So yeah, that's part of the reason why I'm still single, is because, it's because elementary school has me so fucked up that I have no idea how to let a girl know that I might be interested in her, and then even if I did, like, have a way of telling her, like, I don't know what to do after that. Like,
I want to try.
I'm certainly not going to tell her. I mean,
I do want to try the Major Payne way. Maybe I like you. Maybe I like you a lot. Anyway, it's been a little bit of a short episode, but
maybe you and I could go and cut a little rug.
I need to rewatch that movie again. It's been too long. Anyway, yeah, it's a short episode, but I'd like us to end on a high note. We'll finish strong here. That's what she said.
Man, that bitch runs her mouth too damn much.
I mean, you would know a thing or two about pleasing women if you'd read the dictionary.
Yeah, well, I mean, and my parents wouldn't let me because they, the first part of it was dicks, and it's like, for the longest time, in school they'd be like, read the dictionary, but like, all I have is a dictionary.
Anyways, thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for listening. Sorry, I'm still in video mode after all these years. I've been Acomi.
My name is Turk182.
And I have had sex before, I promise.
I had two. I just pulled it out through like the hole in my pants, and then, But yeah, I mean, it was, I cried after. I think I will say, I think it's okay if you cry after, as long as you don't cry during.
Did I played you that song? I had to have played you that song from Ninja Sex Party.
Which one?
And after sex I cry.
Yeah.
And also during sex I cry. And even before sex I still cry.
And the worst part of having sex for the first time was made me think of that episode of like Teen Titans where Beast Boy said he forgot how to eat, and he's like poking himself in the face with the fork. He's like, am I doing it? that was what it was like for me. It's like, am I doing it?
All I really learned from my first time is the old saying that there is no such thing as bad sex is inherently untrue.
Yes, there. Yeah, that is such a fallacy. Like, oh, hey, at least still date. Yeah, no. That's like saying, there's no such thing as like a bad dessert. But like, yeah, there is.
There is.
It's like, hey, I've had some bad desserts before, and there's really such a thing as a bad dessert. It's like, it doesn't matter that it's just sweet. It's still, it's like, it was still nasty. It was just sugary and nasty. Which also describes bad sex. And we're back in.
Sugary and nasty. Anyway,
Bye, everybody. I've been Acomi. Thank you very much.
My name is Draken.
You good, buddy?
No, I'm not. My name is Turk182, and we will see you at the movies.
All right there, folks. That was Our Moms Think We're Funny. Let's give them a hand.